Okay, we're recording now. Take two. Take two. For everybody who's just joining us, Efren and I are going to do this interview a second time because I didn't click record. Talk about authenticity. All right,
Exactly.
so my name is Claire Barrett, and I am the owner-operator of Barrett Realty Advantage at Keller Williams. And today we have Efren Castillo back with us. He was here last week to talk to us about how to stay connected with family and friends through social media in this time of physical distancing. And he did such a great job. We had such amazing feedback that he has graced us with his presence again today to talk to us about, as entrepreneurs, how we can keep our businesses relevant in this time of physical distancing, where maybe our doors are shuttered, or perhaps we're on sort of skeleton services. So Efren, first of all, thank you so much for being here again today. And I'd just like to make a note, Efren has been working with me for the last couple of months. And this morning, I actually got an incredible compliment from somebody who I truly am very, she's an idol of mine, and she said, Claire, I've really noticed your social media has really ramped up. You're really leaning into this. You're really embracing this. And this has a lot to do with what Efren has been teaching me. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And I am recording.
There you go. Again, my name is Efren, and I am with that entity. And before anything, of course, I would like to thank you, Claire, for bringing me to your show again. I feel like one of those talk shows. And second of all, of course, congratulate you on the efforts that you've been putting on social media. I'm super proud of you. And yeah, you definitely come to terms with what we need to do.
I'm embracing it.
And I'm very happy you're actually getting compliments off that. So yeah, kudos to you. Absolutely. Well done.
Thank you. It's been wonderful working with you. So, okay, so let's get right to the meat and potatoes of this, okay? So we reached out to our community on social media, and we had a conversation with them about, what small businesses would you like to support when all of this is said and done? And we just got overwhelming replies. So the reality is our economy has basically been divided into two. We have essential services like realtors, other services, nurses, doctors, and then we have non-essential services, which is basically these businesses are shut down. So on the non-essential side, or like the bare minimum sort of drive-by pickup things, how can an entrepreneur, how can a business owner use social media to stay relevant in this time where they're no longer having the foot traffic, they're no longer having the spontaneous look at their products? How can they maintain their presence, Efren?
Yeah, so first of all, I know if you're labeled as one of those non-essential services, I know you may be facing some tough decisions, right, on your business, and you're probably planning or strategizing on what it is to do right now that would make a difference, and what it is to do, what are you going to do in the future to be able to bring your business afloat. Now, if you're one of those non-essential services, especially if you're not one of those non-essential services, I think the first thing that I'm going to say is you need to have a presence on social media. You need to be out there. So if you didn't do anything before, maybe now this time is being afforded to us to actually start creating a little bit of content and be a little bit more engaged, especially now that we're not physically connecting with each other. Basically, the only way that we can actually talk to our customers or be relevant in their minds is through the digital medium, right? So if you haven't been doing anything, I think this is a fantastic time to actually get started and start posting. And of course, if you have done things in the past, now is definitely not the time to stop. As I mentioned before, in my opinion, more people are spending time in front of social media. Of course, all of us are at home, right? This is the way, at least for now, this is the way we're connecting. This is the way we're getting information. And I do think that if your business is not in social media right now, or in some kind of digital medium, you're losing, you could be potentially losing the possibility to connect with your customers, right?
Yeah. No, okay. So what I'm taking from this is, if you're not on social media for your business, start. Don't wait for that perfect time. There's never going to be a perfect time. Don't worry about making
Absolutely.
it flawless. If you are on social media, now's the time to like continue that, and even possibly level it up. I know from a real estate perspective, we are actually developing full virtual systems. So the reality is that even when this dust settles, for certain industries like ours, or like restaurants where people are going to order out more often than they are coming in, um, we need to develop something that is actually this is the new, it's going to be the new norm. So get
Something,
into it.
yeah, and something very interesting that is coming out of this is the fact that we can still do business.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
like that whole almost taboo, and I've been in the industry for a very long time, so all of this is not necessarily new to me or my peers in my industry, but I think for a lot of industry there was that taboo almost that no, you can't do things online, right? You can't have Zoom meetings or effective Zoom meetings.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sign documents unless you're actually sitting there, and I think this is showing us a new way to do things.
Agreed.
And I think it's going to revolutionize, to a certain extent, it's going to revolutionize certain industries, like I'm assuming yours, for example,
Very, very, very
um,
much so. Very much so. Yeah.
because I'm thinking now, like for example, if I'm a real estate lawyer, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily bound to my office, or I don't have to go travel. If I can actually sign documents anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
um, then I'm actually literally just expanded my reach, right?
Right.
But anyways, sorry, went on a
No,
bit
no,
of a
no,
tangent
no.
there.
You didn't at all. And just to add to that, like my industry specifically, a lot of our marketing budget has always gone to like off platform.
Right.
Okay. So email distribution lists, phone calls, et cetera, and then the actual marketing pieces have been in the house. But the reality is now that is sort of moving over. And I had a conversation with somebody this morning, I said, you need to now have somebody who is proficient at real estate marketing through social media. This is like literally, it was something realtors sort of dabbled with, and now it is going to be the cornerstone
Yep.
overnight. So if you need to be, when you're interviewing a realtor, when you're interviewing anybody who you're going to hire, you need to know that they have kept up with this very dramatic shift in a very short period of time. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, absolutely, and
Yeah,
I think that expands to many industries, right?
very much so. Yeah. Yeah.
Having said that, I still think there is that community aspect of a lot of our industries. For example, for a restaurant,
Mhm.
as soon as this is over, I can't wait to go with my girlfriend to our favorite restaurant.
I know. I just want to stop cooking. I really do. I want to stop cooking. I've had enough.
So for example, there's still obviously going to be that human need to connect physically,
Right.
right? But
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. I think this is setting the platform for what the future may come in.
definitely.
I'm particularly very excited to see what's going to happen next.
Right. Right. Well, I think that as entrepreneurs, I think this is a moment where we really do have to shift our businesses permanently. So that's why I'm so glad you're here to talk to us today. So, okay. So Efren,
Absolutely.
what are some key items to consider when trying to build an online brand through social media?
So one of the things that I always tell my clients, be it coaching clients or actual clients, is, and the analogy I personally love is, imagine you're standing with a big sign that says, for example, in your case, I'm an amazing realtor, this is my phone number, right?
Yeah.
And you go and you stand outside of the ACC, or the Scotiabank Arena now it's called, sorry. Flashback, I almost called it Skydome. No, you're standing outside there after a Raptors game and you have whatever, 40,000 people walking by,
Hmm.
and you're standing there with your sign, right? Chances
Hmm.
of people or somebody actually buying a product from you is
Hmm.
very, very unlikely. And I feel that sometimes that's what we do when we try to brand or build our brand on social media. For
Right.
some of us, it's been, I'm going to post, I'm Claire and I'm an amazing realtor. This is my phone number.
Right.
Boom, done.
Uh-huh.
So we have to go back. If you go to facebook.com without logging in, the main page actually says something along the lines of that Facebook is there to connect people with people and to connect people with the world.
Right.
So let's think about what that goal is for that platform, and then let's play, because that's the playing field we have, right? That's what all these social media platforms are trying us are helping us do, is connecting. So within that, I would say one of the first things is to build a strategy with that in mind. So don't just post about how amazing you are, how amazing your service is, but try to get a little bit more of engagement. Something that we do is we mix 3 different types of content when we put online. First one is the goal of entertainment or engaging people. That means that we'll put, say, a joke, a cartoon, a question, something that will actually bring people out and comment. Notice that I'm not saying we're selling anything at this point. Second one is informational, something about my industry, or something, say, for example, in your case, maybe an update on a market update on what the numbers look like in March for the area, right? So people are you're adding value to their life. And only the third section is the actual promotional material, saying, you know what, if you need to talk to somebody, talk to me. But notice that while we go through that process, we're actually building a little bit of rapport, we're building a little bit of trust, and we're building that connection, which is what these platforms were made for, right?
Right. Okay. And one thing I got from you last week, and then it was reinforced when I was listening to Valerie Simoneau on Red Apple Coaching's I'm totally lost the word there. When I was listening to her Zoom call on Friday, was, and you're right, this is about engaging. This isn't about wafting a placard that says, I'm a great realtor. So if somebody likes or comments, say something back. It's a conversation. I think I know, and that seems very natural to you, but for me, that was a big aha. It was like, okay, it's not enough to just attract people to look at my page. When they look at my page, I have to say, so what is it you're looking, what information are you looking for? Did you get what you were looking for? No different than a waiter at a restaurant's going to come at the end and say, did you enjoy your meal? You know what?
Absolutely. And actually going even further to that, I have a client of mine, he's in the recruiting business. And he goes into that process when people like or comment, and it's funny because it's like his most famous post is a cartoon that is really funny. Or at least I find it funny. Anyway, so when people comment on it, he actually comments, and then if people are engaging with him in that conversation, he takes it to Messenger.
Right. Yeah.
If they ask him a question that obviously maybe maybe a little bit private, he would actually take that to Messenger, be like, hey, I just sent you a direct message.
Yeah.
And now you're actually having a conversation through text, for lack of a better word, with somebody. You're actually connecting, right?
So as a noob, when I think of branding, I think of a logo and I think of a color and I think of a tagline. But really and truly, your brand is your connection.
I think so, and I don't want to downplay the whole idea of your color, your logo.
No.
I still think there is that aspect of being trustworthy in the eyes of people, right?
Right.
If you have one logo in one post and then a different logo on your website and then a different logo on YouTube, people are going to be like, who is this? Right? So I think the branding in terms of your logo, your colors, even your fonts can send a message to people. And I think having that set is very important as well. But in the realm of social media, apart from that, of course, is the actual, as you said it, right? The actual connection.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, thank you. Okay, so nitty gritty, are paid ads on social media really worth it? Do they really translate into business? Because you can throw a lot of money at these ads, and it's not like all of a sudden, because you put an ad out there, somebody's going to call you up and say, it's not, you can play for an ad, but it's like standing there with the sign with the I'm a great realtor on the top if you don't know what to do with it, is my impression. What as a professional, what are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Social media ads do work, but it's going to depend on what your goal is. Right. So for example, and by the way, this happened because there was by the way, on Facebook, I hate that little boost button, personally, because you can go, you click on the boost button, you choose an audience, and Facebook tells you you're about to reach 300,000 people with $5. And you're like, oh my God, like my
Woohoo!
exactly, right? My phone is just not going, like, oh my God, I'm going to have to hire people to start taking all these phone calls. And then you go, you confirm on that, and then it's crickets, right? So
Exactly.
they work based on what your goal is. As a matter of fact, if you go into your Facebook Ads Manager, which is a little bit more deep dive into the Facebook ads world, there is a specific objective that you can set for every campaign. So if your campaign is to get the most engagement out of a post or out of an ad, that means that you want to get most likes, heart emojis, comments, or shares. And you telling Facebook, hey, listen, this is my ad. I want the most engagement, as much as you can give me for, I don't know, $5 a day, just to put a number there. And then a week later, you're upset because you didn't get a lead. So was that a successful campaign or not a successful campaign?
It was not a successful campaign.
See? The reason why, from your eyes, it's not successful is because you didn't get a lead. But at the beginning, you said, I want engagement. So you want to make sure that your goal aligns to what you actually consider success. If your goal says engagement, then you have to measure the success of that campaign on the engagement of that ad. If your goal, however, says conversions, or leads, which are different options on Facebook, then of course you're going to measure the success of it based on the leads. And something else I'm going to mention here, and I always talk about this when talking to business owners, is think about Facebook as a data machine. Okay, so basically what you're telling Facebook when you're posting, when you're doing an ad is, go through data for me and give me the best results based on my goal. So if you're telling them, show my ad to the most people that are going to engage, Facebook is going to do that. If you tell Facebook, show my ad to the most people that are going to leave their information so that I can call them back, Facebook is going to do that, right? So it works based on what your goal is. So I know it's not a straight answer, but I think there is always a bit of confusion in terms of, I didn't get any sales, I didn't get any leads, my $5, 300,000 people ad didn't work.
Okay, so, and I'm sorry, because I didn't preface this question. I'm going to catch you off guard here. So the difference between using that little boost button and using the ads manager button, what's the difference?
So when you're boosting, your objective is reach. Actually, I think Facebook now gives you two options, right? But it's going to be either reach or engagement, which means show it to as many people as you can.
Right.
When you actually go through Facebook Ads Manager, you have, I think it's about 9 or 10 different options of what you can actually choose to tell Facebook, this is the kind of people that I want.
Okay. Yeah. There we go. So if
but something to consider is, again, looking at Facebook as a data machine. Something to consider is that you're going to spend less money per engagement that you are going to spend per lead, right? Because now when you're telling Facebook, show this to the people that are going to most likely give me their information or become a lead, you're actually making that data machine work harder because they have to dig in deeper to be able to give you that information, right? Which means, if you think about it as if you're in a laundromat and you're putting coins in, right? The machine has to keep going. It has to keep going until it actually delivers those results.
Okay. No, fair enough. So really what it is with so many things with technology, it's not the platform necessarily, it's the user knowing how to use it effectively. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
All right.
Definitely.
Okay. So a lot of the people who we've invited on here today have actually sell product. Like, I'm a service, but there are people out there who sell product. And now, how can we create like a virtual? Okay. So when I like to shop, I like to walk around the mall or walk down Locke Street or wherever it is I'm shopping, and I window shop. So how can we create this sort of window shop style of browsing for people, but on social media?
So if you're actually selling a product, if you're completely e-commerce based, there are certain types of ads that you can put out there. Something that looks like, and you've probably seen it, right? Where you have different products on different boxes, and it's like a carousel that you can go through.
Right.
Maybe if it's for, say, gym products, right? And then you have barbells on one, and then leggings on the other, and then I don't know, a headband on the other. I know this is a very interesting.
It's more like chocolate, jelly beans.
Well, I was, trying to be conscious of wishful thinking here.
Yeah.
So if you're e-commerce based, that would be there. There are formats that you can try to create that experience. If you're more, for example, in something that I was just talking to with my team today was, how cool is it of what a lot of these restaurants and coffee shops are doing now, right? And within that same line, I think there's a great opportunity to put content like that. Coffee that you make, maybe a recipe that you put on how to make that particular coffee, and then put a little a video of actually how that's made, or a little boomerang. So I know it's not necessarily the window shopping experience.
No,
but
it
would be,
is.
but it would be literally as if you're standing outside of the coffee place and then making it, and then suddenly they turn to you and like, well, what do you think? How did your turn out?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember as a kid, my parents used to take me to this pizzeria, and I used to love it because I would sit at the counter and I would watch the guy twirling the dough. Right. And for some reason that endeared that institution to me. Do you get what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I was in another meeting with a business associate of mine, and her husband suddenly came with this really cool coffee. It was, but it was different because it was like the coffee was the whipped on top, and then it was like milk at the bottom, and it was crazy. I'm like, oh my god! And then it's like, it's becoming so popular because I think a lot of baristas are actually in the space of the coffee, right? Are actually putting a lot of recipes out that everybody's trying them at home, and it's this really cool movement. And if you're like myself, that I personally love food, could just be looking at those pictures forever, right? And those videos.
I've had a blue latte. They call it a Smurf latte. It's actually blue. And the funny thing is I took a picture of it and I posted it where I had it. And sure enough, people are like, what is that? And it was blue. So yeah, no, I totally agree.
And sorry, in that industry, something that we've actually been seeing more and more is, of course, two things. First of all, that a lot of people, especially on Instagram and Instagram stories, they're actually tagging the business, right?
Yes.
So even if you're a business, you can actually tag a few people, or you can ask the people, post your picture and tag us.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And then the second one that we've been seeing as a bit of a trend in that particular industry is highlighting, and this is marketing 101, but highlighting the benefits of your product or your service. So check this out. How about the convenience of receiving a Tim Hortons in your house? I don't know if you drink Tim Hortons, and I'm just throwing that out there because I know it's a staple of actually going to a Tim Hortons and getting a coffee.
Right.
But talking about the benefit of receiving or being able to receive any of these products in your actual home, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to leave. You don't have to expose yourself. You don't have to risk that, and yet you can still have a double-double.
Yeah, no, I totally, absolutely agree. And who would have thought even, 2, 3, 4 years ago, like with Uber Eats and DoorDash and all these other institutions, it's thank heavens we have it, but those restaurants that we would not think had that capability are now coming online with their own delivery services. And honestly, I really love the curbside pickup that has come out of all of this, because I can support a local restaurant.
Absolutely.
I can pick it up and it's hot. I don't have to worry about somebody else getting it. And if I can go online and I can see something as comprehensive as the regular menu as if I was in the restaurant. To me, that is going to that restaurant. So yeah, some really amazing innovations in that industry for sure.
And something that I'm going to throw out here, that something that I think is coming in the next, I'm going to say the next year and a half, is actually virtual reality. I know, and again, as you know, I'm a tech freak. I'm reading everything that I can on technology. So in some of the journals that I've read, I know that there is a very big advancement done on actual virtual reality. So now imagine you're sitting at home, you actually have your virtual goggles, and there is your window shopping experience, right?
Absolutely.
When you're literally looking at things and being able to, yeah, you know what? I love that shirt. And I'm going to combine that with augmented reality, which already happens right now with a lot of these apps. So, hey, I love that shirt. I wonder how it looks on me. Maybe you have your picture already on your profile set up. Boom. That's how that shirt is going to look on me. I'm going to buy it, right?
Yeah, no, and to add to that, just to validate what you're saying, I had a conversation this morning. Now it's not in Canada, but we're talking about virtual reality real estate showings.
Yeah.
So
cool.
You're no longer, like right now I have to be on site and I go through and I fortunately, because I love gadgets too, I have a gimbal, so it's not too shaky, and I walk around the house with a gimbal doing a Facebook Live, and I answer people's questions as I go through the home. Well, what if we do a 360 tour that you can virtually put goggles on and walk through the house? Like,
absolutely. That's crazy. That's awesome.
They have this in the States, in some parts of the States already. So this is something, between Matterport layouts and things like that, that we're definitely going to see coming down the pipeline. So social media is going to be integrating that experience, I believe, into
of course,
into your brand. Keeping on top of the technology.
Absolutely, and it becomes more prevalent, more important, if you will, to actually have that presence there, right?
Agreed.
Because everything is going to, in my eyes, anyways, everything's going to have screens. Everything's going to have input.
Yep.
Everywhere we go, we're actually going to be connected through a platform.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. Okay, so, all right, so now we're, again, a nitty-gritty question, but is there a science to ad placement, meaning like time of day of week, how often? Can you overpost? Can you not post enough? Do you post in the morning, the afternoon? Like, what do you do?
That's a question I get a lot, actually. It is. I'm going to say this: internet marketing or digital marketing is part science, part art. But to preface that answer, I always like going back to the 101s, to the base of it all, right? We have to remember what all these platforms are trying to do. And again, they're trying to connect. They're trying to, for all intents and purposes, they're trying to simulate the real world in the digital platform, right? So figure out what your target audience is. Put yourself in those shoes and think, when would I be most likely to actually read that? When would I be most likely to actually react to that? So let me, like, for example, right now, most parents, I'm not a parent myself, but I have friends that are, and they're homeschooling their kids, right? They have to be on top of it.
Right.
So maybe not post something at 10:30 because maybe the schedule from 9 to like 12 is busy with homeschooling, right? Maybe post something at 7 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning to see what, when you wake up, the first thing you do. I know first thing a lot of people do, I'm not saying you yourself, but I do this. I actually wake up and I'm just like, scroll. Like, well, I'm in bed for a few minutes, right?
Really bad. And then an hour is gone, and I've seen like 10 cat videos, and it's terrible. But yeah. So, I think a lot of people do.
Absolutely. So start looking for those. And again, it's just a little bit of stepping back and putting yourself in the shoes of the person you're trying to reach, and figure out, well, what time would they be available to read my post, to react to it? What is the most likely time or day that they would be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
And then something that I always talk about in social media, and I know I've shared with you a lot, is test, and then test a little bit more. I'm a firm believer that what is not measured cannot be improved.
Mhm.
which means that if you post for a couple weeks, Mondays at 11, you look at your stats and you see that's not working. Well, you know what? Let's move that to 12:30. Let's move it to 8 a.m. See
Mhm.
what happens, right? Next week, maybe you have better engagement. So now you probably found a better time.
Yeah, I found on the ads manager, I actually found the page that shows you what
Yeah.
time people have engaged. And I
Yeah,
was
that's
like,
that's
oh
very
man,
cool.
four
Yeah,
o'clock's
so
pretty popular.
it is.
So,
I think, especially now, I think from what I understand, a lot of people at 4 p.m. are like, that's it, I'm done. I don't want to hear about the world right now. I'm just going to
right.
get my phone and start
Yeah.
looking through things,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. It's fantastic. Okay. So, so let's talk about the keys to ad engagement though. I mean, I know the typical things. You want to have a call to action. You want to have something, like you said, that's relevant to the people. You got to put yourselves in their shoes. What else is key to ad engagement?
I think you mentioned two of the basic things. A lot of it is content.
Mm-hmm.
It's content related, excuse me, and the value that you're providing. And don't get me wrong when I say value, I'm not talking about, publishing this amazing report that is going to change somebody forever. Maybe.
Come on, this call is going to change people forever.
For example, this call, right? No, but maybe it's a cartoon. And maybe it's a
Yeah.
cartoon that when you wake up, you look at it, you laugh. In my opinion, that adds tremendous value to somebody's life, right? If you're or maybe say for example the weekend you did your backyard and I don't know, the dog started playing around and you take a video of the dog and hope, and then on Monday maybe you post it and you say,
Mm-hmm.
hope it was still the weekend and hope I was out in the yard just like my dog rolling around, right? What did you
Yeah.
do on the weekend? Maybe it's not the typical or stereotypical way of adding value, but maybe actually somebody wants to share what they did on the weekend, right? They want to talk to
Mm-hmm.
somebody, they want to connect.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having that ability to make things a little more personable, and
Mm-hmm.
going back to the strategy, I think those are very keys. Apart from what you already mentioned, of course.
Yeah, yeah. And here's the thing, like I'm a real estate agent, but I've taken this opportunity, thanks to some advice from you and from Marianne Gillespie and some other really great mentors, that this is an opportunity for me to add value to people that is not necessarily real estate related. And that's what is going to, particularly if you're in sales, they say, like, know, and trust you. That's who
Right,
they're going to want to work with. And
right.
like, knowing, and trusting also means being engaged in their day-to-day life. So sometimes that is a smile, a laugh, and sometimes that is, the numbers. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? I actually just wrote that down. I love that. Like, know, and trust.
yeah, like, know, and trust, absolutely. Okay, so like I said to you earlier, I have avoided being on video for the longest time. I'm not. It's not been something I've been very comfortable with. But I've heard incessantly for like 4 years and battled it, how important it is to do video. So how does video fit into all of this for an entrepreneur?
I think we have with video, we have the ability of bringing somebody into our own reality as a business. And I'm not saying, so on one hand, it could be a video of you talking,
Mm-hmm.
you relating to somebody. And as you know, right, communication is more than just a written word. You can communicate so much more with your tone of voice, with your facial expressions, with your body expression, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can communicate a little bit better than if you were to actually write something on one hand. And then secondly, even if it's not a video of you, even if it's, for example, the example we were talking about restaurants, right? If it's a video of, or maybe a time lapse of how the pizza's made, you're
Oh,
bringing
that's
people.
brilliant.
I know, eh?
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, I would watch that over and over right now.
That's it, right?
I would.
No, absolutely. So what you're literally doing is you're bringing that person into that reality. In the case of a time lapse, of course, it's in a small period of time, but you're bringing that person to that reality. Or again, how to make a coffee, right? If you're a barista, and you're at home and you don't actually have like, the $10,000 espresso machine, right?
Yep.
Let's do a video and let's bring people into that reality. Something very interesting. This
is my expression of percolating, because you just like thrown something at me and I'm like, time-lapse video. I love it.
There you go. And something else to think about in video, especially when we're looking at video in Instagram and Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
From the back-end perspective, YouTube is Facebook's competitor, right? When it comes to video. So something that they've been doing for about a year, probably a little bit more than a year, is they've actually giving a lot of emphasis to video. One of the reasons is, of course, because they're trying to compete with YouTube.
Okay.
So statistically speaking, generally speaking, video posts do better. Video ads do better. So there you go. 3 reasons why you want to do it.
I had never actually, I mean, I always knew video did better, but that explanation just totally made sense. It's because Facebook is competing with YouTube, so they're going to give you preference. I know it means it's so basic, right?
And it is one of the reasons, right?
Right. No, I get it, but also it makes sense for Facebook.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And then it makes sense for their platform because they're trying to connect people. Statistically speaking, they see that people react more with video content. So they're going to put video content on top.
Fascinating. Okay, super. Okay, so now we've touched on this a little bit, but so I have a business page, and then I have, and it's a business page. So there's unlimited friends I can have. And then I have a personal page. And I've decided that in order to fulfill the value proposition I have, I'm basically only posting on my business page now. So I'm putting personal stuff on there in order to be able to connect. But should our business pages and our personal pages, should that content be mixed in or not? What's your opinion?
2 things here. First, a bit of a word of caution. Most of us probably didn't read the terms and policies when we signed up for Facebook as users, not as business. But your personal account is supposed to represent a real person,
right?
And it's not intended to do business. So just keep that in mind. Just as a reference, I know a lot of fake accounts got deleted and have been deleted for the last 8 months. And within that run, I know of a few accounts that got suspended because they were promoting or just doing business through their personal page.
Okay, I did not know that.
So that's the first, so that's the first one. But now what you're asking is a little bit of a bigger question that's going to be very relative to each other's person, right? How much of your personal life do you want your business contacts to know? And it's going to be very, very, very subjective on what each and every person is comfortable sharing, right? So for example, let me see, I'm trying to think something that I'm comfortable sharing on my own social media. For example, our dogs, right? Yes. My girlfriend and I, who we work together, we have our dogs. So that's an aspect of my life that I would be more than comfortable sharing, because half the time the dogs are with us here in the, not half the time, all the time the dogs are with us here in the office, right? So there are our teammates, and sometimes we laugh, because sometimes we're having a conversation and you have the dog just like looking at us as if they're listening to the conversation, which is actually very cute. So that's an aspect of my life that sort of fits into the brand. It fits into something that I'm more than definitely comfortable sharing, right? Right. But there may be other aspects of my life that don't fit within my digital agency business.
Okay.
So there may be aspects that I'm not going to share there. I do think that, especially for small businesses, when you bring that personality, you bring that human touch to it, I do think that people react a little bit better to that than if it's just a blank kind of statement, almost like corporate, very cold.
Yeah. A caveat to that, of course, is that if you are going to put personal content on your business page, please, by all means, nothing inappropriate. No, but really and truly, like I've seen it before where, all of a sudden on somebody's business page, there's some rant about some political system or something that happened to them that day. And that's just not, it's not the platform.
Absolutely.
That compromises your brand. So you do need to be smart about it. So
And again, it comes to sort of, if you think about what you would do in the real world and now transfer that to technology, right? If you're running your business, what is it that you do there? What is that brand? What is your business saying? And then transfer that into the technology side. Again, social media is nothing but another channel to do our marketing, right?
Absolutely. Okay.
And if we keep that in mind every single time we do anything, I think it could sort of guide us.
Okay. Very, very good advice. Okay. So the other thing that I know I have a challenge with sometimes is, I'll do posts, I'll engage, and I'll get people to like, I'll get people to comment. But obviously, I want to be their realtor first and foremost. How do I convert those people into either going to my website or engaging with me off of the platform?
So a couple things here. First of all, we were already talking about this in a previous question that you posed, which was maybe take them down to the messenger route, right?
Right.
So take them off your posts, send them a message, and actually converse, and maybe have the ability to add them to your database. Obviously, if they're conversing with you, if they're talking to you, there is some kind of interest, either be it interest in your material, be it trust that has been built. Whatever that is, there's something there that you should definitely pursue. The other thing, of course, is that there are ways within Facebook advertising, and most platforms actually advertising, where you can do what's called retargeting. So that means that, say for example, you put a video, say you put this video, right, which is going to be about maybe 45 minutes long. You can actually tell Facebook, right? So first of all, you would say, I don't know, put a budget on this video. And then you can actually tell Facebook, you know what, out of everybody that saw my video, 50% out of everybody that saw 50% of my video, now send them this particular post. So Facebook is keeping track of what it is that we're doing, whether we're watching a video, whether we're liking a page, whether we're liking a comment. And we have tools that we can tell Facebook, listen, grab these people that actually engage with my posts, grab these people that actually watch my video, and then maybe send them an ad that says something along the lines of, I don't know, I'm running a free consultation if you're thinking of selling. I'm just thinking in your industry right now.
Yeah.
And put the link to the contact form on your website. That is actually going to gather that information. So that way you can actually retarget those people, right? There's no, because of privacy laws, there's no way just to take that information out, right, and put it on your database unless they actually give you permission to do so.
Okay, so let's clarify. So that's something that you're going to do instead of just boosting a post. You're actually going to do something in Ads Manager. That's where
Correct.
You're going to. Okay,
Correct.
All right. So
and then something. Sorry, go ahead. We're so polite, eh?
We are.
and another thing that you can think about, and that may require a bit of a longer conversation, is actually running an ad with the objective of somebody messaging you on Facebook, right? So you can say, I'm running this clinic information session for sellers of homes, right? Click on the message. So if I look at the ad, if I click on the message, it starts interacting with your Facebook Messenger.
Yep.
And then you can actually start having that conversation with them.
Yep. Yep.
And then if you take that one step further, actually another step further is you can actually have what's called a chat bot. There are a few out there like ManyChat, where you can actually build automated responses based on what people are saying, right? So for example, you can say, hey, are you interested in the workshop? I'm going to click yes. Is this your name? Yes. Is this your phone number? Yes. Is this your email? Yes. And then you can even have integration with calendar applications. So then, okay, here, book your time. What time actually works for you? This time works for me. Perfect. Obviously, on the back end, you would have it connected to some kind of system that sends them an email with the confirmation. It goes on your calendar. And yeah, I think I went a little too far there.
My brain just fried. Okay. But okay, so what I did get out of that, though, what I did get out of that, which was very, very relevant, is this ability to go in and say, okay, you've taken a look at this video, and through Ads Manager, then doing a follow-up ad to something else.
Absolutely.
So if I have, and sorry, it sounds silly, but you taught me something recently. I've discovered that on my ads, I can have the little button, and that little button can go to a URL totally off of Facebook. So
Yes.
when I'm advertising these interviews, my little button says register here, and it actually goes to my Zoom registration.
There you go.
Boom.
Fantastic.
Who
Absolutely.
like
No, absolutely. Well done.
totally
Yeah.
blown, mind blown. So, okay, last question of the day. So you have been so forthcoming with so much really great information. The reality is that for some of us, we know we need to get onto social media. We know we need to do this, and yet our plates are already full, working on our sales. So if somebody wanted to hire someone to manage their social media, considering that they're a small business, ballpark, how much is it going to cost somebody to hire somebody to do this for them?
That is a great question.
Call you directly.
Listen, I think that not, at least the way we run our business, I don't think there is a specific or one cookie cutter solution for all of the brands that we represent. Mm-hmm. For our clients, we actually go into an in-depth discovery. We try to get their voice, and only then can we create content that is representative of what they're about, right? And it takes a bit of a process to do that, but that's the process that we have. But with that in mind, I can't give you a figure because it's very customized for every single business, right? And it's going to be different. Say if you're very big on LinkedIn and not so big on Facebook, well, now we have to have a different strategy. If you're targeting people from the ages of 14 to 22, then maybe we have to move on to Snapchat, right? So it's going to be very different on each particular business situation. And I would love to be able to give you a blanket answer and be like, you know what, it's going to be X amount, but it would be very, very unfair for me to do so.
No, listen, I've never done I've never done a market assessment without actually now virtually seeing a house. So I totally get what you're saying.
That's exactly it.
But I think that the key to what you have just said is that a lot of time needs to be spent with whoever you're hiring, getting to understand your voice, because they are going to build your online brand. And for that reason, depending on how complex your online brand is, it could be something very minimal, but it could be pretty significant as well. So anyway, I really appreciate your time today, Efren. Thank you so much for coming out and talking to us again. Now, I don't know what I don't know. Have I missed anything really big that a small business owner should be thinking about if they're going to, not if, when they go out into the social media world?
The biggest thing that I can say, and it's more of a reiterating what we already said, is don't be scared to be out there. Don't be afraid, and don't think that the logo has to be perfect. The video resolution has to be perfect. We have to hire a photographer. We have to hire a production crew to be able to put a video out. Usually, videos that do the best sometimes are the ones that we grab our phone, we put it in front, and we talk from the heart, offering value to those people that are following us, right?
Absolutely. Well, I like to think so, because that's pretty much what I'm doing. It's certainly not polished. Listen, Efren, thank you so much. I really encourage any small business owners who are seeing this video, reach out to Efren at AD Entity, and or reach out to me. I'll gladly put you in touch with him. I cannot tell you what a great mentor and teacher he's been for me. Certainly, if you go to my Facebook or my Instagram and now my LinkedIn, woohoo!
Boom, nice.
Boom! You will see over the last 6 to 8 weeks a significant trajectory, and I'm so excited for what this means for my business going forward. I'm so excited what that means and how that's going to translate into my clients' results. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for pouring into everybody. We really appreciate it. And stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks,
Awesome,
Efren.
Claire. Thank you again for having me in
My
your
pleasure.
show. And anytime you need help, or anybody that's listening to this, yeah, just reach out. I'll be more than happy to sit with anybody and help out.
Okay, well, thanks again, Efren, and everybody. I will see you soon. Stay safe and have a great evening. Bye.